Hey, what's up, everybody? Local Joe here for another live podcast show, episode number 4. And this week we're going to be having one of our top agents here. Actually, she is the top agent here at Z Real Estate, Renee Jaden. So I really appreciate Renee taking time to come out and share with us a little bit about how she got started in the business and then what she does to make herself so successful and how she's had such a great run at it. So that's going to be exciting. Uh, if you haven't done so far, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe, share, follow all those things. I'm on all the socials, so Local Joe Farmington Hills, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, of course. Reach out, subscribe. Uh, Definitely, reach out to me if you got something to say. If you have any comments on any of the stuff I say, or something that you would like to that you need help with, or that I could go over and talk about, or maybe give suggestions on ways that our team has figured out how to do certain things. So having a team here is great. So that's always a great resource to fall back on and get information from. So let's start today with our local news. So this year we got, or I'm sorry, this week coming up, next week actually, we have the State of the Cities. It's on Friday, March 5th. So again, it starts at 4:30 till 8:45 is the whole event. But the State of the Cities, if you're only interested in the main part there, is from 7 to 8 p.m. So definitely want to show up for that and find out what's going on in Farmington and Farmington Hills if you're interested in that. They also have a local blood drive going on at the high school this week. So that is going to be on March 11th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the auditorium in the high school. You do need to register for it. In order to register, you need to go to Versity, VERSITI .org/MI. So again, it's versity.org/MI. VERSITI.org/MI. Some exciting local news again. Let's go with the hockey again. I'm into hockey, and it's been a great time for hockey this last month with the Olympics and everything. So obviously, Jack Hughes. Well, not obviously. Maybe you guys don't notice, but I don't know. It was hard to escape the media with his broken tooth and the great win that they had in overtime against Canada. So again, Jack Hughes scored the winning goal. But the great thing for Michigan this year in the Olympics this time. Was there was a lot of representation on the hockey team for Michigan. So the 4 out of the 5 guys on the ice at the time, or I think it was 4 out of 6, because I believe one of the guys was a goalie. But anyways, a large portion of the guys that were on the ice when they won the championship or the gold were all from Michigan. And then, as we talked about last week, Megan Keller, who scored the winning goal for the women in their overtime victory to win the gold, was also from Michigan and specifically from Farmington. So, yeah, that's great. Very excited for them, very proud, great time to be an American, all that kind of stuff. So, really happy about that. Um, Kind of going on into my news now, so a little bit about how my hockey's going. So we won our fourth playoff game, which was great. We won 7-2 with a pretty big victory there. I scored a nice goal, so it was a great pass from my buddy John. So the great part this week was my buddy John uh, was playing with us. We had played them a couple weeks ago and beat them, so that was exciting. But this time John subbed on our team, and he actually scored 4 goals, which was amazing, and we really appreciate that in our berth to make the playoffs. It does help. We're in second place now, and only the top 2 teams play in the final game. Um, but anyways, we won, and yeah, it was a great pass from John. He really set me up good and scored a good goal there. So we are now 3-0-1, and the first place team is 4-0. So yeah, we're shooting for that. Back to the gym this week. I was been trying to hit my 3 day a week goal. This week I actually only hit 1 day, so it was a little disappointing. It was a busy week this week. We had the Zeep boot camp, so that was kind of, I don't want to make excuses, but without rearranging my whole schedule, I would have I didn't do it. Let's just get down to the chase. I didn't do it. I'm using the boot camp as an excuse, but it was taking up my mornings, and it did kind of put off some of my stuff I normally do, and including some of my calling, which I'll talk about in a minute here. As far as every week trying to make my podcast a little bit better, you may notice this week actually last week and this week, a new welcome screen. So I had my son, who is an artist. If you guys need any artwork done, reach out to me. He's a great artist. He's been drawing since he was a little kid. Went to CCS art school to do video game design. So he's getting into more of the 3D modeling and that type of thing. So any type of work you need like that done, reach out to me. I'd be happy to hook you up with my son, and that'd be great for both of you. So, anyways, he made me this great welcome screen that's going to be on the when you look at the thumbnail for my podcast. That's what's going to show up. So that was pretty cool, and I appreciate him doing that. And the other thing I learned was last week, the one of the guests that I had scheduled last week, you may remember, was unable to make it. And part of that was my fault. They kind of forgot about me, to be honest. And I just asked them on Thursday to come on Saturday morning to do it. And then I didn't follow up on Friday and remind them. So because they normally don't do anything on Saturday, they didn't look through their calendar on Friday night or Saturday morning, and they just overslept. So that's something I've added into my process now, is that the day before I'm supposed to meet with another guest, I'm going to go ahead and give them some type of reminder. So yeah, that's two things I've actually done this week to try to make my podcast better. So as I do this through time, hopefully a year from now, it's going to be the greatest podcast ever. That's what we're shooting for. A little bit of media I went through this week. I'm continuing to read, listen to. Actually, I don't do a lot of reading, but I do a lot of listening to books. Influence, New and Expanded by Robert Cialdini. I'm really enjoying this book. It really just gives you a good insight on psychology and sales and influence, and not so much sales, but how to use it in sales, but basically how people are influenced and what is it that makes you make up your mind about something and have a certain feeling about something. So it's very insightful, great book. I'm really enjoying it. And then My First Millions, I listened to them a few times. To be honest, it's been like a week since I did this, and I didn't make notes. So maybe that's a note I'll make here to continue to do, is to try to take better notes throughout the week so that I can tell you a little bit more about what I learned each day, because sometimes it kind of blends all together in my head and I forget what happened. So, and then Housing Wire Daily is that's my daily thing I go to. I love to keep track of the market and what's going on, see if there's anything that they see in their trackers that show any kind of ups or downs coming up ahead. So yeah, I love listening to them. Right now, what they're saying about the market, Logan's pretty happy with everything. He's their lead analyst. He's saying it's basically a balanced market, and that's where we're at. Buyers and sellers are negotiating, which is great for everybody. It's not tipped in any direction too far. So yeah, that's good. You hear a lot of doom and gloom. Don't believe everything you read. A lot of times when they're doing stats and stuff, things can look bad if you have a winter storm like we did in February and some of January, and then that can affect the data weekly. But if you look a little further out, monthly, or even bigger, yearly, sometimes that can help smooth the lines. And same thing actually when you look yearly. Sometimes you may see a big change in a yearly thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Could have been the year before was a real low year or a real high year. So you really got to keep the perspective of what the data says. Data can be manipulated, as we all know, to say many things. So just keeping an eye on what the data really means, and having, I do trust Logan. Sometimes I just trust his knowledge. When you listen to him speak, you'll understand why. He knows basically what's happened to every part of the market for the last 20 years. So definitely check out that. I definitely think it's a great resource for anybody that's interested in real estate rates or just how money works in general. So this week, coaching. So one of the things I was working with this week, I have a couple new builders that were talking, or I'm sorry, a couple of clients that were thinking of building a new construction. So I was just talking with Kurt Shewell. He works here. He's one of our top coaches. He did new construction for years prior to coming here, and so I just learned a little bit from him. He kind of sat me down and just gave me a real good run through on everything to look for, everything to talk about, all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate Kurt's insight all the time. He's always willing to help out and give you a little bit of insight on what he knows about that. So that's great. And then what else did I learn this week? Oh, and then I had some foreclosure issue too. I haven't done tons of foreclosures, so I did reach out to Fatty, and he definitely gave me some good advice, and we've been working through that. So definitely great being part of the EXP team, and specifically the team here, because we have these coaches that I'm on a coaching call every morning, and those two are actually two of the coaches that are on there every morning, and just being able to reach out to them directly when I have questions or anything, and they're always so willing to help. So I just really appreciate all the knowledge and the experience they have and their willingness to help. So really makes a big difference and really makes you feel like you're not alone and that there's nothing that can come up, that you can't handle. So that's great. So we had the boot camp this week, so that was great. I did miss one day of it. I managed to make it the last 2 days, and it was really great. So I learned a lot about, they go over so many different things, and the people they have there are all different blends of your business. One guy that I really enjoyed was talking about YouTube and how he's built a really successful. We're talking in the billions of sales using YouTube as his number one lead generation platform. So he does long form video about different properties, and it was really interesting to me. He actually said shorts are basically can kind of kill your algorithm. So listening to him speak, obviously I've had my YouTube channel for a while. That was my original intention, was to use that to help grow my business, and I did kind of slack a little bit and kind of went away from the real estate focus of my channel. So hearing him say that and kind of get me back going that way, and obviously this podcast is one step toward doing that. But the other thing that was really interesting to me was, first of all, this guy was talking about YouTube, so that got me excited. Then he says, does anybody here ever heard of Alex Hormozy? And so anybody that knows me, I'm kind of like an Alex, his biggest fan, or whatever you want to say. My family actually teases me about it because I'm always saying, well, Alex says this, well, Alex says that, and he just has so many great references and frames that he uses for talking about things that I quote him a lot. So that was great. I was excited. He had met with Alex actually, and so that was great. He paid, I think it was $10,000 an hour to meet with Alex, and he said it was worth it. So just an interesting guy. And after the meeting, I spoke with him and told him that I enjoyed Alex. And then he had mentioned during the podcast or during his presentation, another part said he had worked with a large media company that works on social media, blah, 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 and they're out of New York. And the first thing I thought of was Gary Vaynerchuk and VaynerMedia. Those are the two guys that are probably my favorite two influencers or podcasters that I listen to, is Gary and Alex. So I was even more excited when he said, "Oh, Gary, yeah, I've been on Gary's podcast, blah blah blah." So this guy and me had a lot in common, and I really enjoyed talking to him, and that was great. So got that out of the boot camp, and it's just a great place for networking and learning. So yeah, I got it marked it as listing presentation for the grand finale basically, and this was a new presentation that he put together that added some different features that were different than the way he did it before. We're always constantly trying to make things better, and that's what this was. So yeah, that was great. So as far as my calls this week, let's see, what do we got? So I continued making calls. This week I got 82 people I called. 36 of them I connected with, and 24 people I actually had conversations with. A few of the things that came out of that was, let's see, I met with a builder this week. So one of the clients I told you I was have a few clients that wanted to build. So this weekend I met with one of the builders and my client, and we went over some perspective plans and what they might be doing. So that was great. I picked up another buyer this week from Zillow lead, and that was great. I just connected her with the Zillow home loans, and as soon as she gets pre-approved, we're going to probably put an offer in on this house that she wanted. So that is exciting, and this is her first time buying a house. So I love working with first-time home buyers. It's exciting for them. It's exciting for me to see see them getting their dream, basically. So yeah, that's great. I love that. Um, and then there was also another lead I got this week that was great because this was actually one that I had kind of written off. It came. It was actually a Facebook, so I'm part of a lot of Facebook groups. If you're not, I suggest you get them. Most cities have like a local Facebook group. The one I'm in is All Things Farmington, and there's another one, All Things Livonia, and blah blah blah. So the All Things Farmington one is great. There's a lot of people that post on there, and a lot of people that are part of the group. And obviously, being a big part of Farmington and Farmington Hills is why I like it. But there was a gentleman that was looking for someone to help him clean out some of his stuff. And so I just connected my brother with him, just trying to help both of them out, not trying to get anything out of it. But turned out the guy was actually trying to sell his house. So when my brother learned that, when he was speaking with him, he connected us two back together and said, "Hey, he's looking to sell." So I spoke with him, and I actually didn't think it was going to work out because they were stuck kind of on the commission, and it sounded like they were just going for a low cost solution for the commission, and they were going to just base it basically on the lowest commission, which I don't like to. I don't like to reduce my commission. So if you can't provide the right amount of value, then I can understand why you might be willing to cut your commission. But I think that I provide quite a bit of value, and for that reason, I basically don't cut my commission. So, anyways, I had kind of written that one off, and the gentleman just called me back after it was about 2 weeks. He said, "Hey, I still need your help. Can you go to the house and just walk through it and tell me what it would need to, what would make it better to sell?" He was out of state and it had a renter in it, and it needed some updates and just some general cleaning and some things that they had kind of messed up. So I got my brother back involved, which worked out good for both of them again. And I went through and took pictures of everything and said what needed to be done. Then I sent that to my brother. He provided the gentleman with a quote. I let them work out the money and the quoting and whatever else they were doing there, and the job got done. So now I just sent them the listing, the listing yesterday for them to sign the contract, and I'm waiting to hear back from them today. My brother is still finishing up the work. There was some additional work after there was some stuff that had to be done, the doors hanging off and things like that. There was some stuff that was a little bit more optional, but I definitely think it will help with the curb appeal and things like that, some of the lawn stuff. So yeah, we're taking care of that, and my brother's supposed to be taking care of that the rest of the or tomorrow, and then we should be good to go on the market for that one. So that's exciting, and it's right in my neighborhood, right in Farmington Hills. So it's exciting for me and for them to finally get this house. I guess it's been a little bit of a pain to them. So yeah, that's my sphere that I've been nurturing, and that's about it for today on that front. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and get to Renee, and then I'll see you back here.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's Local Joe. I'm here with Renee Jaden, our top agent at our brokerage here. So Renee agreed to sit down with me on Saturday morning before she gets her workout in. So I really appreciate it, Renee. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Joe.
No
This
problem.
is really awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So we were going to talk a little bit today about your career and kind of how you got started in real estate and that type of thing. So I thought we'd start with like kind of where you grew up and what type of family you had, and what was it like for you growing up a little bit.
Yeah, I always love talking about my family. So I grew up in a small little town, and the town that I grew up in was Oak Park, Michigan.
Okay.
I am one of four kids, and I've got three older brothers. So between the three older brothers, my third brother and me, there are 7 years apart. So I've always felt like an only child, but also feel like I've had four dads.
Right.
So
Well, that's cool.
it was really cool.
Having
We lived
them
in
look
a
out for you.
very small home, and it was an 800 square foot home, 3 beds, 1 bathroom.
So you're really close then.
We were really, really, really close, and I've got great parents. I'm Chaldean American,
Okay.
and my parents moved here in 1966. Both married here in the U.S. and then had all of us. and I got to really make a lot of great memories in the city of Oak Park.
They met here.
Yeah, they met here. It's really funny. My great grandmother and my dad's great uncle both knew each other. Both migrated to the U.S. in 1920s,
Okay.
and have always just kind of established their life here. And my mom and my dad met at a church in Hamtramck, and yeah, that's where they
That's
came from.
cool.
They're Iraqi, and Iraqi, starting their life here, and had us.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And then, so what about, so you graduated, and then what did you do after graduation?
Yeah. So with Oak Park, I was there when I was younger, and the city kind of started to change a little bit.
Okay.
We were, with having three brothers, driving fancy cars, wearing nice clothes, people started to notice. So we were getting robbed a few times. So
Okay.
we had to take some moves. I ended up going to Warren Mott High School it's in uh, Madison Heights, but it's actually a Warren Consolidated School. And graduated there in 1998.
Okay.
And after that, I went to college for about a year and a half. I went to Oakland Community College. Yeah, not so proud of the fact that I didn't graduate.
What were you thinking about studying at that time?
I wanted to get into business, but I was working and I had started with a company called Nordstrom. And Nordstrom had given me such great opportunity. I was starting to open stores with them,
Okay.
and being a young manager. So I saw a lot of ways that I was thriving there and decided to just, pursue my career with Nordstrom. So I did drop out of college.
Okay.
And just decided to just learn how to run a business at the School of Nordstrom.
Nice. Well, that's a good place to learn, right?
It is.
You
It's
get
a
paid to
fantastic
learn, right?
company.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know, but they were always known for their customer service.
Yeah.
So there was so much that I learned there. I mean, I truly feel that that culture, the qualities that I learned there have truly shaped me to who I am
Building
today.
your foundation a little bit about,
Absolutely.
especially for customer service, which in
Yes.
real estate is huge, right?
Totally.
So, okay. So then you were working at Nordstrom, and then how long were you there?
So I was working at Nordstrom. I started it's funny, I turned 18 and I applied and I got a position that day in customer service. I worked there for probably 22 years.
Okay.
And it was the best experience. I have to tell you, my first 10 years of the positions that I held there. So I held about 16 different leadership roles.
Okay.
Opened several stores on behalf of the company.
So you did learn a lot there.
Yep. I was on their strategic team. I mean, the greatest part about working there was that they were an ever changing, always evolving company. And when that happened, you weren't afraid to take a risk. And anything that was new, any position that was new, you just jumped into it. And I loved always raising my hand for the next new position.
Right.
And what that taught me was to not be afraid and to jump into things, and you'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's really what I loved about that company. And not to say that I was perfect. I remember messing up.
That's part of the learning
in my
process,
first
right?
10 years. I mean, I was late to today. I was late. I'm not going to lie, probably was written up. I don't know. I really was coached in every which way. But those moments are the reason why I feel like success is really followed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being coachable, right? That's it's all part of learning. So you were young and you were figuring it out. So that's awesome.
For sure.
Okay. So so let's just start where you went from there. So at what point, what made you decide to leave there if it was you were doing so great and everything was?
Yeah. So a couple different things happened after that. I was actually recruited to the Henry Ford Museum, which was a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
They had retail stores there. Their partner was Event Network, which was their souvenir shops. But the souvenir shops had to be really aligned with their mission and vision. So it taught me how to sit on a senior management team and be able to learn what it's like to be a part of a board and part of a strategic planning association. So that was really cool. I got that experience, then got recruited to Saks Fifth Avenue and ran the designer club there.
Okay.
And then I went back to Nordstrom. And when I did, it was around 2020. And I want to say that COVID hit. And COVID hit, and a lot of conversations were going on about where brick and mortar was going.
Right.
And the options really became that my husband came to me and said, "Hey," now I said to him, "I need a change." He's like, "Well, you could do either mortgages or you could do real estate, but I don't see you, and no, whatever mortgage people do, that if they're sitting at a desk and having phone calls,
Yeah.
it's not as much face to face as a realtor is."
Right.
And he's like, "You're such a face to face person. You should totally go get your license."
So why do you think your husband chose those two things out of all the stuff he could have chosen?
And
Any
so
is there some reason he's
he kind of
that way?
was just like, he felt like I had this talent for people, large assets. Like, if I'm going to sell like the largest asset
Right.
out there, like, why not sell real estate?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I thought about it, and it was not so unit intensified like it is with retail,
Yeah.
right? Because you're constantly picking up more units and units and units.
Yeah.
But this is like one large unit for a really great dollar amount. The other reason why is I think he knew that I had this talent to build relationships, because no matter like where I went,
Yeah, you were always
I was always making a friend. I mean, if we were on a plane,
Right.
if we are, at some sort of sporting event, like, I'm bound to talk to anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So he just knew that relationships was really going to
Kind of
help.
comes easy for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came really easy for me.
That is interesting because you definitely come off that way, right? You're very friendly and very outgoing, so it definitely
Thank
comes
you.
off that way. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a people person.
So go into your family just a little bit about
Yeah.
how does your family look now, and
Yeah, I have a beautiful family. I've been married to my husband, Tommy, for 21 years this past October. We have two beautiful children. I have my 20-year-old Sydney. She goes to Wayne State University. She's going to actually go into business.
okay,
She's in her second year of college.
so she's following after her mother.
So funny. She was actually at Lawrence Tech. It's kind of funny. She realized that that place was not for her, so she
Okay.
took a change, which I'm very, very proud.
She was going to do engineering or
She
something
was
like
going
that.
to do architecture.
Oh, architecture.
And after her first year, she just felt like that was not her, and she did approach me with it. We took it. There was a little disappointment there, but there
Yeah.
was also, some big learnings, and I truly realized I have to provide support to her
Right.
so that she thrives in everything she does. And she's now so happy there. And yeah. And then
It's interesting. I was going to say it's interesting when you have children because you have these kind of dreams for them of what you think would be great, right? Like an
Mhm.
engineer, obviously everybody
Mhm.
kind of dreams their kid's going to be an engineer
Right.
or a doctor or whatever.
Right.
And then you realize that maybe they're not an engineer and that it's okay.
And it's totally okay.
Yeah, and to support them wherever they want to go, and it usually works out better that way. So
For sure. Like, you kind of think back, and there were times in my positions that I took that, I truly felt that there is a true potential there that I'm not utilizing.
yeah,
And those are the things, those are those signs that you're getting, that's saying that you have so much more to give in other areas.
yeah,
And so when I think about that with me, it was really easy to understand and accept my daughter's
where she was coming
decisions
from.
and where she was coming from.
And it's actually kind of impressive that she was able to pick up that that wasn't for her and to come to you and say, "Hey, I need to make a change." That's actually shows a lot about her character. And
It wasn't like right away, but it was there, and one thing I had to do was I had to make sure that I did compliment her on that.
yeah,
Because I felt that that was a big move, because we could have waited all 4 years
right.
and then just
And then she
wasted
could have been disappointed.
and
Yeah,
disappointed.
yep. And people
So
do that, I think, sometimes for their parents, right? Like they're trying to do it
a
to
lot.
help their parents, and it's not really good for anybody.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not.
So
And then I have a 17-year-old son who, I have to throw this in, just won state champs for Detroit Catholic Central
Yeah.
in football.
all
Yes.
right, that's awesome.
He's been playing football since he was in kindergarten. I don't know if he's going to become this avid football player, but we've been just having a blast. He's 17. He's going to be a senior next year.
Oh, okay.
And it's been quite interesting. My entire family is really focused on, of course, just, our dreams, our education, our health. Everybody in my house is on a diet.
Okay, that's
or
good.
not a diet, on a healthy journey is what I should say.
That's important, right?
Yeah, so it's very exciting to see my kids grow, and I kind of feel like a little bit of an empty nester right now.
Okay. Well, So where does the health part come from? Are you pretty healthy? Have you always been healthy, or is that
I've not
something you?
always been healthy. I come from a Chaldean family who gives love by feeding us.
Yeah,
And if they're not feeding us, they're
there's something
literally
feeling bad.
they're what's that?
They're feeling bad then if they're
Exactly.
not
They're
feeding you.
feeling bad. If they don't send a meal home or do
Right.
something, and if I don't eat my entire plate, then I wasn't good. So, I have to say that I, in the last few years, have taken a big health turn. I lost about 56 pounds.
Really, that's great.
I've gained muscle. I've focused on myself, and it's really has contributed a lot to my personal life and my success. And I realize that in everything we do, we don't have to be the greatest. We just have to be consistent.
Right.
And people say it, and it
That it
sounds
kind of makes you
so
the greatest,
cliche.
right? Being consistent, because not
Yes,
everybody can do that.
yes, and it's just showing up and being ready. So I don't know if the health journey comes from me, but I do feel that it's important to lead by example for my
Yeah,
kids.
for sure.
And I have seen that since I started watching and my husband started watching, and we're very careful with how we eat, what we eat,
The food you're
when we're
bringing into the
eating.
house too, probably, right? Because you probably
Yes.
don't bring in as much junk food and stuff as
No.
you may have done in the past.
Yeah. And it's been interesting because I've noticed that they start doing it on their own.
Right.
And I'm not really telling them much. It's just because they're watching us. And that comes to show you that if I was doing something bad, they'd
They
be
would be
watching me.
watching that as well.
Yeah.
I found the same thing with my son recently,
Yeah.
and he actually kind of, because I'm a big thing about not eating sugar.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, though, I do indulge. And he made me feel bad the other day for eating sugar because I offered him some of the junk food, and he's like, "No, I don't eat. I'm not eating that." And I was very proud of him for saying
Wow.
that, but at the same time, I was like feeling bad for myself for because I was doing it. So
They're paying attention.
they are all the
They're
time.
paying attention, and we are what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
And they notice that.
Lead by example, right?
100%.
That's great. So I was going to ask. So one of your non-negotiables, you talk about. I had heard you on our coaching call. You came on one time, and we're talking about your non-negotiables. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that means to you, and like what are your non-negotiables that you don't that
Yeah.
you do?
It's so important to have that non-negotiable because it's my happy for the week.
Yeah.
Right. So how do I thrive in other areas? I thrive in other areas because I'm happy and I get to do the things that I really want to do. And part of being in real estate is great. You get your financial freedom, but you've got to be organized. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you don't work hard. However, there are things in my calendar. I mean, I put everything in my calendar. So my non-negotiables are really funny. I wake up every single morning at about 4:30. I'm at the gym
That's early.
by about 5:45, maybe right at 6 a.m. I do some classes there. On the weekends, I kind of go in a little bit later. Today, I'm a little casual because I'm actually heading to the gym later. But weekends, I kind of sleep in. I do play pickleball, and
Okay.
I've got that. I was on a league for the first time on. I was doing a Friday league that just ended, and now I'm going to pick it up 2 days a week
That's
because I
pretty fun.
realize it's so fun.
Yeah. Did you just start playing that
I
recently?
just started playing, so I kind of tapped into it a little bit, but wasn't consistent again.
Yeah.
So I realized that every single time I was playing, I had to go through the
It was
rules
like
again.
playing again.
It was like playing
starting
all
over.
over again.
Yeah.
But now I realize that we are, learning to play on a little bit more and staying consistent. The other non-negotiable that is going to be on my calendar is going to be golf, but I also get a blow dry every single Wednesday, and those are my non-negotiables.
Okay. Well, that's important too, right?
I shouldn't say Wednesday; it's Wednesday and Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, looking good is also important, right?
If you look good, you feel good.
That's
when
what
you
it
feel
is.
good, you project that energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I find that I also lost some weight and have been kind of on a health journey. And I find it just makes you, the other thing is you get that extra energy just from like not carrying around all the extra weight and just being healthy. So
100%.
it just gives you that.
You look
extra.
great, Joe.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
So you kind of mentioned your husband had kind of mentioned to you real estate. So how did you decide how did you switch? Did you just quit your job or did you start doing real estate part-time at first? Or how did you make that transition?
So I got my license in 2019. Actually, I think I said 2020 the last time. So 2019 is when I got my license. And then, or was it, 2019 October, but I started January 1st in 2020. Once I did that, I decided to go all in. So anything that I do, I don't really believe that if you're trying to be the greatest at it,
Yeah.
you can't put 50%
1 foot in and 1 foot out.
No, you've
Yeah.
got to be all in. And I knew that taking this risk, that you weren't going to get a paycheck for 90 days.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, I like pulled out $10,000 out of my 401k, kind of set that aside.
A little
Thought I
backup
wasn't
money.
going to, yeah, as a backup plan. I didn't think I was really going to close on a deal. But I spent 2 months prior to that day as I was transitioning out of my other job,
Okay.
really just preparing people for my shift in real estate.
Okay.
So reaching out to people, sending messages, sent a I remember because I started in January, I sent out a Christmas card that was just introducing what was happening in my life. People loved that. What's interesting is I started on January 1st. On January 19th, I got my first lead, which was a $600,000 lead that came to me for downtown Plymouth. And I closed on that.
How did you get that lead?
So very interesting. A friend of mine saw my social media.
Okay.
She was flipping houses. Client walked in there, wanted to potentially purchase the house that she was flipping. He wasn't into it, but she actually gave him my card and he contacted me.
Okay.
And that was my first client.
Nice.
And we went to downtown Plymouth. Well, actually, before that, I showed him a few homes. He picked out top 3, went to all 3 on one of our appointments. I was completely nervous.
Yeah.
Very, very nervous, but didn't show my nervousness because he didn't know any different.
Right.
And we ended up putting an offer in for this home, and we secured the house, closed on it. January 19th, I actually showed the house. January 20th, it went, I put the offer in. We actually closed in the first week of February.
Man, that was quick.
It was so quick. I thought it was 90 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
That's like a record almost.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is actually not so bad.
Right.
So it's funny. And when I worked at the Henry Ford Museum, you learn by doing.
Yes, for sure.
And so when you just throw me in,
yeah,
it was great.
And that probably boosted your confidence a lot after getting that one, huh?
It did. I still have that first picture. It's on my first feed of my Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that day. And then I thought, gosh, if I could do this, I could keep doing this.
So you're pretty heavy into the social. You post a lot of stuff.
I post everything.
Yeah.
And I'm an open book. I want people to know who I am as an individual, because if I'm on the other side and I know who that individual is,
yep,
I'm more likely to trust them, understand them, and maybe even work with them.
And they feel like they kind of know you already, even before they get to know you, right?
Yeah.
Because they've already seen what you've been up to.
Yeah.
So I actually had my first, I was at the boot camp the other day, and one of the guys from the lending company, Jadan,
yeah,
he came up. I was standing there talking, and he goes, "Local Joe," and he said, "I see your stuff."
That's
and
awesome.
I've never had anybody come up to me and say they knew me from that before. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing. And that's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
So like social media is not to be your end all be all, but it's your introduction. It's the interview to people.
Yeah.
It's the first impression.
And that's where people go now. Once they get your name, right? They're going to look you up on social media and just kind of see what you're about, see if you're even on there and what you're posting about. So
100%. And they've already gone through your entire feed. They've gone through your Facebook.
Yep.
They already know who you are, what you're all about. And the only thing they need to do is get to know you. I mean, there's people that walk up to me all the time and start talking to me like I know
they know you, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, do I know you? And they're like, oh my God, well, we follow each other. And I'm like, oh, then we're friends.
Basically,
you follow me and I follow you, we're friends.
So when you got that first deal, were you part of the team here already, or how did that?
Yes, okay. I've never worked for any other brokerage.
How did you become part of the team, and how did that all take place?
Oh my God, such a great moment. My husband and I were driving to Traverse City one day, and this was after it was actually through the time I was going to school for real estate, and or considering it. And we were driving, and Mark Z popped up on my feed, and I just, he was doing a lot of like putting value out there, putting education out there, just feeding. And I started going down the rabbit hole, because we all do that, right?
Yep.
Like you click on him and then you go on down his page and you're like, this guy is so smart.
Right.
And so and what's funny is that he lived in my subdivision in Commerce Township, him and his wife. And our kids are almost the same age because they lived right across the street. So I watched him grow from getting in his car, putting his signs out, growing in the Commerce area.
Yeah.
So I knew his background, but I didn't really communicate with him as much as I did with his wife Janelle, because Janelle was more my friend. We
Yep.
had a lot of people in the same circle of friends in that area. But watching his 25 years of growth
Yeah.
and watching to see where he was then, where he is today, and watching the value that he was putting out there,
Yep.
I felt like I was going to be safe with him.
Okay.
Like I knew that this guy knew what he was doing, and
Right.
no matter what happens, I'm not going to fail.
Yep.
So I sent him a message. He invited me to come out to a boot camp. I had still not gotten my license yet. And he said, let me show you. And I came to one of our recognition meetings.
Okay.
And man, there was so much fuel, so much
Yeah,
power.
it's great, isn't it?
It was so much energy. And I'm like, oh my God, I could totally see myself doing this. And he walked me through what the EXP model was doing. And
Excuse me.
that's okay. It's all good. He walked. Sometimes those kind of things happen
Right.
here. It's all good. We got to be raw. We got to be real.
Thank you.
All good, Joe.
Thank you.
So he walked me through what the EXP model was doing.
Yep.
And the EXP model and what the potential was. But he really, encouraged me to start focus on driving my career and driving my business. So needless to say, he's a mentor to me.
Yeah.
And I will thank him forever for the value that he puts out, for the investment that he has made.
Yeah.
Because it is a two-way
The availability too is what I really appreciate. Just as
being here.
He's here, right? And
yes.
You can ask him questions anytime. So.
Right. And it's well thought out.
Yes.
It's not a half answer.
Right.
He's all in. And I think that's what really speaks to the testament of where we are today.
Yep, I agree.
And that's why I chose him, and that's why I'm here today. And I haven't worked for any other broker.
And you can feel it as the whole team feels that way, right? Like everybody's trying to be successful and help each other and just provide value, kind of. So I really enjoy it.
That's amazing. I mean, you're doing fantastic as well.
Thank you.
And, I think you are who your team is, and you are a version of that. And I think it's going amazing.
I agree. Okay, so that kind of talks about why you picked the team. So I was going to go into a little bit. You kind of talked about your first deal already, but kind of tell us about your first year maybe in real estate. So it sounds like you came in at a weird time because COVID was about to hit.
Gosh, it was so funny. But COVID didn't stop people.
Okay.
It was crazy. So the funny part is I started before my January 19th showing. I was so hungry to shadow people. And so Chad APAP was amazing. I was just asking everybody hey, can I shadow someone? Can I shadow someone? And we were wearing masks.
Right.
And we were showing houses.
Yeah. Okay.
Houses were booming at the time still. Nothing was stopping us. And then I realized that this is not about the economy. It's about a mindset.
Yeah.
And when we can truly go after it, and you could really listen to people's, opportunities, and you can be a problem solver.
Yeah.
This does not become work, because it's coming from the heart.
Right.
And your mindset truly becomes about helping others.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started seeing the immediate success.
I found with the mindset thing too, if the news is the one that gets me a lot, because they're always so doom and gloom, right? About everything.
Totally.
If you watch that, you'd think you could never sell real estate because they're the market's terrible. It was funny. Kurt was saying yesterday at the boot camp how they'll say something like prices are really high. Hold on, I'm getting confused. He said something about prices being really high, but things are terrible or something. And it just didn't make sense, right? They're always just trying to get a headline. And
Well, when you think about this business and you think about anything, right? People are always, unfortunately, dying. People are divorcing. People are relocating. People are in financial debt.
Yeah.
People are downsizing, upsizing, trying to fulfill their dreams. There is motivation out there.
For sure.
We just have to find it.
And I think that's what kind of confuses people sometimes, because you hear about on the news are the people that don't really have to move. They're just the people that are, investors and other things like that.
Yeah.
The people that have to move. And that's the majority of people that buy homes is what I listen to Logan Motoshami on Housing Wire Daily. He talks about this a lot, that people just get married and they have kids and they do things. And that's just why it continues to grow, right? You can't really stop that.
No, you can't. And life changes. And, people, it's so funny when I hear people say, this is my forever home. This is my forever home.
Yeah.
It's never your forever home.
Right.
There's always something different that's happening in your life.
Yep.
And it's your right now home.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
your tomorrow home.
Yep. That is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first year then, why don't you tell us a little, did you tell us about, you didn't tell us about that yet.
My first year in, I started with just the success I had in the beginning.
Yep.
However, I did end up, that first year, I had an amazing mentor, which definitely was not only Mark Z, but Chad Apap. And that first year, the opportunity that we really get at the Z Real Estate team is that we are able to do things like showing partners.
Yes.
And showing partners are opportunities and ways for new people, experienced people, seasoned people to partner with another individual to help your client become get closer to their goal. So, as a new person,
Yeah.
I didn't know much, so this is my way of learning.
Yep.
And it's also a way for the other individual to be able to help multiple clients, providing them the same level of service that they do for all of them.
And for
right?
the new agent learning from the other the
Yes.
experienced agent too, sometimes that
Yes.
was a great thing.
Because you could see the deal from A to Z.
Yep.
So if I had to add up my total volume with what I did personally and what I did with a showing partner, I did
Okay.
$10 million.
Oh, well, that was a
Yes.
good first year.
It was an amazing first year. And what was great is that, again, going back to that whole idea of being all in.
Yep.
So when in October, I got my license, but I didn't want to fully start until January because I didn't want to be 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Yep.
So as I transitioned and I pulled that 10K out of my bank account and said, hey, this is going to be my all in moment.
Yep.
Then you're all in, your mind is all in. And so
you have to do it.
You
right?
only achieve what your mind believes.
Yeah. Whether you can or you can't, either, or whether you believe you can or you believe you can,
Correct.
either way, you're right, right?
Correct.
So,
yes.
Well, that's great. So, okay, so you had a great first year then?
I had a great first year. You know, and I have to say, but every year started to grow. It was like 10 million, 13 million. Actually, I even want to say like 10, 15. Yeah, 10, 13. I don't know. It was 10, 13. There was a year I did 18 and then 24. And then,
so,
yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit about 2024? Because we have
year.
a board here, right?
Yes.
And it's got some of the people, the top players for different categories.
Yes.
And your name's up there a couple times for that year. So why don't you tell us what happened that year and what?
Yeah, 2024 was a year of milestones, man. And in real estate, you do realize that it becomes a roller coaster if you're not consistent. So in 2024, I did about 24 million.
Okay.
And that was a fantastic year. Lots of great things happened out of that. A lot of opportunity where I was doing a lot of buy and sell. Sold a couple lake homes that year.
Yeah.
Really, really focused on driving the business that way. A couple things came out of it. I was selected to be on, the Real Producers of Oakland County on the cover as a top producer.
Okay.
Some milestones that came. I sold my first, my highest unit sale, which was 3.65 million.
Oh, that's
made the highest commission I ever made, ever, in the month of July. It was just a fantastic year.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I was so dedicated and focused on nothing else but that.
So that kind of brings me to another question about the luxury side of the market. So obviously at a 3.2, you're in the luxury market, right? And even getting some of those, 15, 20 million, obviously you had some higher price point homes or you were doing tons of production, but you do the higher price point?
I do higher price points, but I'm going to be honest, the highest house I've sold is 3.65.
Okay.
So I've sold a 3.5 and a 3.65, but many of those. So when I say luxury, it's funny because I could say when we think of luxury, we think of price point and we think of volume.
Yeah.
And that's great because I do specialize in that, but that's not the only thing I do. When I think of luxury, I think of the experience that I deliver to my clients, where
you deliver a luxury experience regardless of the price point.
Yes. And what does that mean? Luxury experiences. It's more about a personal relationship. We might go to lunch. We might have coffee together. It might be, being able to have a one-on-one conversation. So it's more through my interaction.
Yeah.
And the level of service that I provide. And what type of service I'm delivering during the negotiation process
Yep.
that helps
Give it all
deliver
that,
that
make
luxury
that package,
experience.
right?
Right.
I noticed you're really good at communicating. You make people feel good when you communicate with them. I don't know how to describe it really, but just the way you use your words, it's really nice, and it makes
Thank you.
people feel good.
Thank you.
You're very open to giving compliments and things like that. So I
Yeah.
think that makes people feel good.
I do believe that anytime you see anybody, you should compliment them.
Yeah.
You should also make a connection. So find a way to find something in common. So I like to call it the 3 C's:
Okay.
compliment, connection, and compliment. Uh, I said it twice, right? It was like compliment, connection, and then find a way to find something in common.
Okay.
So when you do, you have a better interaction and
Yeah.
things start to flow better than making this a very transactional experience, because
Right.
people are attached to the person and the relationship, not necessarily to the transaction and the deal.
Right. Right. Yep. And you're making them feel a certain way after the transaction, right?
Yeah,
Because of the other stuff. So that's awesome.
totally.
So you didn't necessarily try to focus on luxury, or how did you, or in the higher price points, was that something that just kind of came because of the people you were, your sphere, basically? And
Yeah, I mean,
obviously,
I like to do so. When I worked at Nordstrom and I worked at Saks, it was always selling higher end clothing.
yeah,
I do like nice places, nice
yeah,
food. I like to travel. My sphere and people around me are typically living in a home that's anywhere between 550,000 all the way to a $10 million home.
right,
Those are people that I interact with and sit with, whether I belong at my country club,
yeah,
whether I'm sitting at a girls' table, whether I'm going out couples. This is who my sphere is.
right,
And so when I started carrying myself and reflecting that type of demeanor and etiquette and showing up at these places,
yes,
this is who I attract.
yep,
And so that's how a lot of the business is coming, and that's how I made a name for myself.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good example, I think, of how to do it, right?
right.
Okay, so you've kind of covered this a little bit already, but I just wanted to ask you if you kind of had to say like one or two things that you think makes an agent successful or has made you successful. What would you kind of say the main thing is that you should focus on as to be a successful person or an agent or whatever you feel?
Yeah. So it's funny. I would say, and I probably said it in this interview today, is that you've got to be all in.
Yeah,
You got to be all in. You want to see success. You can't have one foot in. You can't have one foot out. I hear so many people holding multiple jobs,
yeah,
and I get it, but that comes from a fear of not trusting yourself. And when you want something bad enough,
yeah,
you will make it a priority.
yeah.
You will make it possible. And my other thing is that, and I learned this after 6 years of real estate.
Okay.
So this is something that I realized right away. So if I had to give advice, you've got to be intentional in everything you do.
Yeah,
And when I say intentional, meaning not having a motive, like a negative motive, but like you have to have this intention of helping others.
yeah.
And with zero wanting zero in return,
Expecting nothing back.
expecting nothing back.
Yeah, just doing it to
Just
help.
just be intentional, be kind, help other people solve a problem, whether it's real estate related or it's not. I had one of my doctor friends call me the other day. She's running an event for Henry Ford Museum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Henry Ford Hospital. In my head, it's museum. Henry Ford Hospital. She came to my fundraiser this past January, and then she texted me and she said, "Can you give me vendors to coffee, dessert, wine?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. You're the best. That moment alone can go so far.
Right. Oh yeah.
And that shows that you're resourceful. It
Yep.
shows that you have the answers. And guess what? When they need a realtor,
Who are they gonna call?
they're
Right.
going to think about me, and it's going to be subliminal.
Right.
And it won't be pinpointed that way. So I would say definitely.
It's because you're providing value,
intentional.
right? Kind of like what you said about Mark. The reason you were drawn to him is all the value he was providing, and people
Right.
will be drawn to you if you provide value to them as well. So that's kind of a
Right.
yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
So you mentioned your charity thing. So I do have that on my list here. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about that. So it was for Children's Hospital. If I
It is. I was actually recently having dinner at Aurora in West Bloomfield, and it's a regular restaurant that I go to all the time. And it's this idea of giving back has been sitting on me for so long, and it's
Yeah.
something that I just hadn't done, and it was missing from my career.
Okay.
I mean, I was giving back where I was like going to different events, and I'm constantly donating. But I felt that I needed to be proud of something that I did.
Yeah.
And it was more of a personal purpose.
Okay.
And I saw my restaurant manager, my favorite restaurant manager, and his name is Stoli. And I just ran this by him. I said, Stoli, I've always wanted to throw an event. I've always wanted to throw a fundraiser. And he goes, well, let's do it. And I was like, okay, we've got to find a fundraiser that gets the hearts of everybody. And he said, he actually gave me the idea and he said, I think we should do it for the children. And I said, I love that.
Yeah.
I said, done. There is nothing to think about.
Right.
Who would
Who
not
doesn't want
want
to
to
help
help
children?
children?
Right. Yeah.
Like, let's do it. There was not even one thing to think about. And every other, idea came across, which was beautiful, but this was just centered around the children because the children are our future, right?
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to connect you with someone from the Children's Foundation, and they have all donations have to go through the foundation to get to the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
And this is going to help with cancer treatments, MRIs, CAT scans, flu shots, things in the community, and even helping other kids in the community.
Okay.
And so we ran our first fundraiser, and that was on January 16th this past year. And it was super small. We were not looking to bank a ton. I wanted people to have a great time and nothing real estate related. It was literally just about
It seemed kind of big
having
what I
a
saw
great
of it.
event.
It's funny that you said it was really small. How many-
250 people, but you're talking to a Chaldean woman where every minimum party is 750
Gotcha.
people.
Because
So
to
of
me, that
course,
seemed kind of big. I was kind of impressed.
yes. So it was 250 people. We raised $15,000. We had the biggest smiles on everyone's faces. I had so many vendors that just started raising their hand and saying, I want to be a part of this.
That is so cool.
And that just, there was days in the car, I was just smiling and I couldn't believe that people were just coming out of the woodwork. Like, why me? Why did they want to help me?
Yeah.
And then I went back to some of the things that we have done together and the little value that maybe I've provided went a long way.
That's what we were just talking about, right?
Right.
Provide value and people want to help you as well.
Totally.
So that's awesome. So, well, that's kind of all I had here for today. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave? The one thing I try to do with the podcast is provide value for other agents.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you can think of that you would want to say to someone thinking about getting into real estate or even a professional about maybe joining our team or EXP or any of that stuff?
Absolutely. And it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Joe. I think that if you are stuck in where you're at and you don't know where you want to go, but you love the idea of passion for people and you love to help people achieve their goals, real estate is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to join the world, but most importantly, it is very, very important to understand who you work for and who you're surrounded around. And if you're looking for a team that offers support, training, leads, and has a leadership team that truly cares about you, the Z Real Estate team is where it's at. It's helped in my success. And also, EXP is our global brokerage, and they are a wealth of knowledge on its own as well. So I've really enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah,
I
thank you for
appreciate
coming.
Joe having me today.
It was great
been a
getting
lot
to
of
learn
fun.
more about your story, and I really appreciate you coming in
Thank
as
you
well.
so much.
Yep.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
Thank you, bud.
All right, everybody. Thanks again, Renee. I really appreciate you coming in and on your Saturday and taking time out of your schedule to meet with me and share your knowledge. So that was great. Um, so now I want to get into agent attraction, attraction action. We're calling it. It's the one thing you can do this week to help you attract agents to your brokerage. So Ron, one of the great salesmen here, he's also one of the coaches on our call in the morning. He gave me a woman's business card a couple weeks ago. Said, "Hey, call this girl." And I said, "What am I supposed to say? I don't even know who this woman is. Where'd you get this card from? Like, how do I? I don't know anything about her." And he's like, "Just call her." So I didn't call her, and I just let it sit on my desk. And every once in a while, Ron would come by and he'd be like, "Hey, did you call that girl yet?" And I'd be like, "I didn't call her," blah blah blah. So the other day, he came up to me and he said, "Did you call that girl yet?" And I finally just am like, "What am I gonna say?" And I just finally called her, and it actually did. It was interesting. I didn't know what to say at first, but I came up with something and I thought it was pretty good, and she seemed pretty open and open to it. So what I basically said was, "Hey, I notice you're doing some sales over there. Have you ever thought about joining another team where you get to keep more of your commission?" And the killer thing that she said next was that she actually just switched brokerages 3 weeks ago. So guess what? Guess when Ron told me to start calling her was 3 weeks ago. So I feel like I kind of blew that one by sitting on it and not taking that first step right away. Like everybody that I know that's very successful moves with speed. That's one thing that I've learned from watching other people that are successful is their time between when they come up with an idea and when they start taking action on it is very short, and they don't take a tons of time to think everything through and do all that. They just adjust on the fly and they start moving right away. So that's one thing that we can all do. Take keep in mind that would maybe make us all a little bit better is to just keep moving. As soon as you get something, especially I was telling my son this week. If you have something that's going to take 5 minutes or less, just get it done. Like don't screw around. Don't you got only so much desktop space. I kind of relate it to a computer. Your head sometimes you only got so much desktop to put files on. Pretty soon you run out of space, and if you just keep putting these little things that you got to do, this thing, that thing, and all these little things, right? You're eating up all your memory and all that stuff. So get those things off your plate, especially if they're under 5 minutes. Just take care of it and get it gone. So that's my agent attraction. So local Joe to go this week. I kind of want to go back. It's kind of more of the same, a little bit about reality and what are you focusing on and what is your why. So you know, having a clear focus, I think that's one of the things that sometimes I struggle with is I know kind of the direction, but I don't have a clear picture in my mind of like what it is that I want. Like I know I like to be successful in real estate, but do I want to own my own brokerage? Do I want to be have a bunch of commercial buildings? Do I want to just be the best agent in Michigan or the best in the whole country? Like what am I shooting for? Do I just want enough money for this, enough money for that? What is a goal? And I think sometimes we just kind of go down the path and don't have that goal, the final goal in mind. And the one thing that I think that you need is the final goal. And a lot of times I think, we try to get that final goal and then we try to plot our way there. And I think that's where also people run into problems. So what I suggest you do and what I've heard works great is to come up with a very clear and vivid goal. Don't try to figure out the how. Just figure out what the why is. What is the thing that you're doing? What is the thing that you're shooting after and going for? Don't figure out how you're going to get there. That is what your subconscious brain does. That is what the universe does. All these other forces coming together to make your vision of reality converge and happen. So it is not magic. Manifesting, a lot of people talk about it like it's humble jumbo or whatever. And, I really don't think it's that way, but I do think it happens. Obviously, every idea starts in your head, right? When somebody thought of a car, like it didn't just manifest out of the blue. He didn't just think about a car and it appeared there, but it also just didn't come from nowhere. He had a thought in his head. He thought, "Oh my God, I could make a car. This would be cool. Imagine if we didn't have horse, we could just ride around on this thing with wheels and an engine." And then they start building it, and then that's how you do it. So, yeah, the manifesting thing, people make fun of it a lot, but I think it is important to have that clear goal in your head and not to understand how you're going to get there and just read, you know, some people believe in God, some people believe in energy or whatever it is that you believe in. Just believe it, and that the thing that you want is going to happen to you, and it will happen. And I am a true believer in that, and I believe that we do create our own reality. And for sure, definitely, we're creating, your own reality that you're living in. Is it good or is it bad? You can look at something a million different ways. And so just kind of focusing on the good in every situation is also important. But so don't be so logical. Let your subconscious figure it out and manifest a good goal and start from there. So that's my local Joe to go. Just kind of focus on same thing I've been saying. Focus on good shit and focus on your goals and what you want, and know that you can do it and have self confidence. That's the other one that this kind of boggles my mind. I mean, it's so obvious, right? Self confidence. What is self confidence? Well, it's confidence in yourself, right? But so how do you get that? So there's two ways, in my opinion, that you get it. Number one is just being confident in whatever it is. So having knowledge or skills or experience and whatever it is that you're happen to be dealing with um, always gives you a lot of self confidence. The other thing, though, I think is that's a little more underlooked is whenever you make like a promise to yourself, a decision of something you're going to do, and you actually maybe don't even say it out loud, but in your head you think, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is, I'm going to go to the gym every day this week or whatever it is. If you let yourself down, that's how you lose self confidence, in my opinion. So it seems kind of obvious because it's self confidence, right? And you're letting yourself down. So, of course, that wouldn't be building any confidence. But I think that's more important than sometimes people would realize about not letting yourself down, especially because you make all these promises and you're the only one that knows them, and you don't have to keep the promise to yourself. Nobody's going to know if you let yourself down, but you will know, and your subconscious knows if you're the type of person that lets yourself and others down, or if you're the type of person that follows through. So, and I don't necessarily think it goes that way. I think in your head you have to kind of set the goal that I am the kind of person that follows through with stuff. So then when it comes to the thing that you're supposed to do and you're trying to decide should I do it or not, it becomes kind of obvious what you should do because you're the type of person that does shit, right? So you would never just not do it. So get up and do it. Think positively, stay positive, and be creative, and have a great day. And I will see you all next week. We got a special guest next week. I'm pretty excited about this one. It's another agent from a different brokerage, and we're going to see a little bit about how they do it. And they actually have their own podcast studio that we're going to be filming at, and so it'll be a little bit different venue next week than you're used to. But I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll see you then. Have a great day. Have a great week.